Today's headlines.
This is where it's at.
Report suspicious activities and call 911 for immediate response. Expect delays, searches of personal property, and restricted access to public buildings. Expect traffic delays and restrictions. Take personal security precautions to avoid becoming a victim of an attack. Avoid crowded public areas and gatherings.
Trey,
Yes, sir.
I was in a great mood all day until just before you got here.
Oh, did you find another gray hair?
I have very little gray hairs, thank you very much.
It's probably because you dye them.
I absolutely do not dye them. Like, I'm gonna fight you on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why are you in a pissy mood?
Let me tell you. Every evening, I have to go outside and take the trash out, correct? It's one of the tasks that you do as the man of the house.
Is it?
Not saying that women can't take the trash out. But I do. And during the day, I'll dump, when you have kids, you never know when you're going to need to go outside and dump it into the large trash container.
Okay.
For the last couple of months, I have been catching people on my camera dumping their dogs' poo-poo. How are we always talking about poo?
Poo.
Now we've moved on to canines.
Canine poo.
They're dumping their poo into my trash can.
Is it?
I'm there. Hold on, I'm in there I go to that trash can multiple times a day. I don't need to smell that on top of what I'm smelling from my children.
Yeah, child poo, dog poo.
I just, something about this is really irking me, and I feel like it's a lack of respect. This is my property. You're walking up to my garage. Am I right in this? Am I being irrational? Do you think there's that I need to just chill?
Let me ask: Are they picking it up in those little baggies at least, or is it
like with their hands and just dumping?
Well, I don't know if they're picking it up with a napkin and throwing poo in there.
As far as I know, it's all been in the doggy bag.
Little doggy bags.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you're being an asshole. You need to get over
You
it.
can still smell through that.
No, you can't smell through it.
So
chill out. All right.
So what I left out was that this most recent one was like a 13-year-old girl.
Oh, God.
And I caught her in the window, and I didn't realize that she was that young. She turned around, and I had my arms up, and I was just like this scowling face. And she was on her phone, like ran off.
You didn't get a chance to apologize?
No.
What an ass.
No, I mean, why am I going to apologize? Just because she's 13 doesn't mean she needs to put her shit in my trash can.
I mean, it's better than her throwing it against your house now because you're an asshole.
Well, that's true. But we have the camera, which is the other reason I wonder why people... It's right there. They see it anyway.
I wouldn't pay attention to the camera. I'd throw my recyclables into somebody's trash can right there next to my mailbox. So
do you really?
I do.
Are you that guy?
I am that guy. I mean, it's a recycle bin. Who cares?
Well, that's a little different because... Yeah. You're not throwing away recyclables that smell like complete and utter ass. So anyway, write us at stayinthegray.podcast.com, gray with an A.
Don't forget the podcast.
Don't forget the podcast. And let me know if I'm being irrational. If you feel like, you know what, Ryan, you need to chill out, then maybe I'll work on chilling out.
I'm going to say you're being irrational, no matter what the topic is.
Either way, I'm going to talk about...
You're being irrational.
Either way, I'm going to talk to my therapist about this issue. Even my wife was like, I think you're being...
a little bit. Yeah.
I said, but this is our property. I was like, I thought she'd be on my side, and it just didn't happen.
We should throw poo in that trash can.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, I'm excited about tonight's show. How about you?
About what?
Do you know that you're on a show right now?
Are we recording?
Yeah. Are you okay? You do know that.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. Here we go. On tonight we have a wonderful guest. Our first guest.
We have a guest.
We have a guest. I don't know where she is.
Is she here?
I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully
Is
she
it a
shows
she?
up. It is a she.
Okay.
Her name is Jess, and she's an ER nurse.
An ER nurse.
So many possibilities of discussion
Yeah.
and topics. Hard topics, light topics. We hope to get to it all. Lots of good stuff. Maybe we should tease it and say that the main topic we're going to hit on tonight is none other than abortion
Oh.
and the whole women's rights thing.
The whole women's rights.
The whole
thing.
women's rights
Yeah,
thing.
That thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I just heard her. I think she heard me and she's like running in now, ready to rumble.
Yeah.
So we're excited about that. But I wanted to mention that, we haven't been pushing our website very much.
We have a website?
We do. I've worked really hard on it, and it's simple. It's, how about this? www.stayinthegraypodcast.com.
Nice.
It's almost the same as the email. Do you see what I did there?
I see what you did there.
Go visit-
Gray is with an A.
It's with an A.
Podcast at the end.
Podcast.com.
Yep. .com.
And I actually put up the first blog, because I want you guys to kind of, here and there, we'll go ahead and write some stuff down, our thoughts. I'll translate Trey's thoughts
Ryan, can I ask you something
to
real quick?
legible reading.
I'm raising my hand.
Okay, go ahead.
What's a blog?
I have to ask if you're being serious on
that-
this one.
I-
Sometimes I
does
can't
that-
tell.
Is that short for something?
No. I never found out what it meant, but
Because I know a vlog.
It's a way to communicate through written word to our website viewers, if you will.
Okay.
So I put the first blog up about what Stay in the Gray means to us.
Okay.
And so go check it out. Check the website out. Go listen directly to the podcasts. Each one of them's there. You don't even have to do anything other than click on it.
Is it suitable for work?
It is suitable for work. I have not put any of us in the adult diapers
None of that yet.
dancing here in the office yet.
Good.
Yet, but I'll do like a disclaimer
One of these
once that
days.
goes up. Yeah.
Sweet.
Well, yeah, it's gonna happen sooner or later.
I hope.
But also, I wanted to mention to you that emails are picking up a little bit. So,
Yeah?
4 instead of 2. No, but more than that. And so there have been a lot that have been pretty good. A lot of them have, I feel like we have a bunch of podcaster wannabes.
Oh, yeah?
We have 10 episodes now. We've graduated from wannabes to like trying our best,
We're doing what we can.
doing what we can.
Working hard.
But so all these people email and they want to give input about the topics we've talked about.
Oh, okay.
I think that I was right here, I was right there, and because we have so much to do tonight, I'm not going to get into details, but into too much detail. But we'll do that. That'll be fun. But we only had a very, very few people who were like, yeah, basically we didn't impress them.
Oh, okay.
And so deleted that right away.
Tell them to fuck right off.
I wanted to give everybody a turn talking to, and a lot of them were anonymous, and their emails were like strange. I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
Like pumped up kid 47
Pumped up kid 47
at I think it was an old Yahoo.
at imadingleberry.com.
Yeah, something like that. And
Gotcha.
so how am I supposed to locate that guy? But anyway, I wanted to mention that, and so we're rolling now. Emails are starting to come in.
Cool. Very cool.
Right? So what I want to do before we get Jess out here, or in here, if you will, is we touched on this last show, if you remember, and it was about the fact that I had been informed that some of the listeners that we have all throughout Europe right now, in all of our countries, we have like 5 European countries
Very cool.
that are growing, and that it's possible that one of the reasons they're listening is because they like to make fun of Americans.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Very nice.
No, okay. I took it a different way.
Oh, okay.
I took it, although I think you and I both agree that they're clicking on the podcast.
As long as they're listening, they can do whatever they want.
There you go.
Yeah.
To a point. But then it still got to me. I was like, all right, fine, we're getting some listens, but I don't want word of mouth to spread the wrong way. And I don't want all of a sudden me to look down and we have like 47% in Poland and they're all laughing at us. It's like we're
Hey,
a
but
joke.
they're listening.
Right, but I don't want to be a joke in Poland. Right?
But we're not going to meet these
Do you want to be a
Poland.
joke and we're not going to meet these
We're not going
Polands?
to meet these Polands. Those
Well,
Polacks.
there we go. You're almost helping them.
Am I
out
helping
here,
them
right
out a
here.
little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so I have a couple of things here that are the European stereotypes of America.
Ooh, this will be fun.
And I'm gonna address these. I think we should address them so that all of our European listeners understand that we care what they think
Do we?
to a point.
Okay.
And the first one is one that, you know what, I'm actually going to agree with them on. And I don't think anybody can argue this. If they do, they're a special kind of person. But Europeans think that the United States has low food quality.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
And I can't disagree with it. I think we even talked about in France.
Yeah, it's
Eating
sickening.
cheese and bread. And,
the cannolis, and they're all thin and
well, and that's it. It's a natural, more
Unbelievable.
of the ingredients and how clean it is.
They actually said if one restaurant gets a bad, or actually if you get sick from their restaurant, they will close the restaurant down. One person,
Well,
if
that
they
sounds
report.
like a trip we need to be taking.
Right. I mean, here they just,
No, I'm saying it so we can just pretend we're sick.
there you
Just
go.
close
Shut
the-
everybody down.
Shut France.
Then they won't laugh at us.
Yeah. Who's laughing now? Yeah,
Right.
Shut down.
You have no restaurants.
Yeah. All right. So the French listeners are gone, if there were any.
Yeah.
But I can't disagree. So I wanted to knock that one out real fast. Have you been to France?
I have.
You have. What part did you go to?
Paris.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so you got out and explored France.
Yeah, sure. I just remember walking up to a police officer asking him, "How do I get over here?" And he looked at me like I was an asshole and just
Right.
turned away. It's like, all right.
Yeah,
Fuck you.
they do have a little bit of a they have a thing against Americans. People go, no, that's fake. It's not. I was there
not at all.
I was there, and I wasn't in Paris. I was there in Marseille, on the southern end by the Mediterranean, the Riviera,
Yeah.
down the way, and all that. And they just, I mean, you sit in a restaurant and they walk up and they're almost like just so frustrated that they have to deal with you. So the next one after low food quality is that Americans are obsessed with work. And I don't know why that's, I don't know why that's a bad thing. And I guess I'm going to let you start with some of these, because I don't want to babble the whole time. I feel like the reason that the United States has been so productive, and recently you could argue that things are off with the United States, and it's just off. Everything is. But overall, since the United States became the United States, it's just grown and become this huge, at the time it was a superpower and this and that, in a very, very short amount of time. And I think that's because of work ethic and prosperity and the idea of hard work and work ethic. And so I don't know if that's what they're talking about. Or they're probably talking about how we work 40 hours a week. A lot of them work less than that. But they also don't do anything. They don't give us anything.
Are they saying they're more,
World.
or are they even mentioning that maybe they're more family oriented and
Maybe.
they focus more around that than they would work?
Well, that's what I'm saying. There wasn't a lot of elaboration here, and so when
they
I
need to
pulled
freaking elaborate
that's the
with this
point.
stuff.
Well, and
It's
this was
ridiculous.
just a list, and so I wanted to kind of just try to analyze it ourselves.
Come
But-
on, you Europeans.
And I think it's because of the way that the United States overall has 40-hour weeks, less vacation time, all these types of things in the workforce that actually require it to get anywhere.
So is food and everything free over there? They don't have to work? Is that what they're saying? They just get free everything?
Right.
Is that what it is?
No, and that's what's so weird about it is when it comes to, they still have to pay for their stuff, but if they work 35 hours a week, great, good for them.
Yeah.
But again, the United States, good or bad, is kind of at the forefront of a lot of stuff in this world, and I just think it's because the mindset is more innovative. Again, I don't know. That's just my guess.
And they still have shitty attitudes. I don't know what their lower work
That's
schedule is
true.
really doing to help them out.
So that one wasn't exciting. So we can move on. I just thought that I think they're being petty.
Yeah, it's petty.
Unless they get away and have everything we have and they work half the time, don't come at us with that.
Yeah,
in my
good job.
opinion.
I like it.
If it's this close, 35, 40, and
Yeah, it's just down.
whatever. So Americans can only speak English. Go ahead. Do you want to start on that one, or do you want me to go on this one?
I mean, is there any other
do you want to
language
hit the
to
pause
speak?
button for you to think?
Is there any other language to speak?
I don't think there is.
Okay.
But in a weird way, you're right. And I say that. What I mean by that is it's not a secret that this world has kind of become English driven,
Right.
whether it's, economy and business and just all around the world and connections and networking and all that has become
Social media.
It's become a universal, right? Social media has become a universal language.
Right.
It has. Some people don't like to say that, but it's true.
Yeah.
It just is. And whether we are kind of shitty for not learning any of their languages while they're learning English in addition to their first language, okay, fine, fair enough. But I mean, does that mean you don't like us, or you're listening to the podcast, laughing? Well, they only know English, ha ha ha. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, and just like with us, when we go vacation, we may go to a different state or visit a country every once in a while. But I think over there they do tend to visit other countries around them a little bit more frequently.
Right.
So maybe that's why they tend to learn more languages. I mean, I know friends that will literally vacation a different country for a month and are able to work over there while they're vacationing. So maybe that's why they're able to learn languages and have that opportunity, unlike us. We just go to a state and, they speak English, so there's no reason to learn another language.
Right.
So.
Well, there's plenty of areas around in Texas where you can go and learn Spanish, but
there's plenty of areas you can learn redneck and,
you can learn redneck for sure. And you can learn
backwoods.
You can learn Yankee nonsense as well if you
Yeah.
go up north. So anyway, I mean, that to me was one that I don't know. Again, let's just, we're being picky here. This one's funny to me. Americans are too patriotic.
What kind of shit is that?
That's what I'm talking about. And I don't mean to just like run with that stereotype and be it, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm fine
because
with
it's
that.
like we love our country. And one of the examples they gave was they can't believe how many times they hear like Americans say our country is the greatest in the world. Why is that bad to say?
Is that a bad thing?
No.
It's like I don't want to sit here and say, man, we are 13th.
Yeah.
And we're happy with
that. You
that.
know what? We are the 13th best country in the world.
Right.
Suck on that, number
Yeah.
14.
Good job.
Through 200 and whatever. Is it 295, I think?
I have no idea.
Two.
I was asleep in class during that one.
You were asleep during a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. Look, that's just, they don't like it, and I'm going to sit here and be a cocky American and say it's because their country isn't that, and maybe they don't like to hear it.
It's unbelievable.
I mean, can somebody I better be careful.
Yeah.
Can somebody use two more listeners. Can somebody in one of those European countries, like maybe one of the small ones that, they're great, I'm sure, and it's great to, maybe visit. And can you really sit there and say you're the best country in the world?
Right.
Based on what?
Exactly.
I believe the United States has some sort of hit. I mean, we have everybody has their shit. I mean, we have stuff that we obviously regret the way that it all came together.
Right.
But we also have plenty to be proud of.
Absolutely.
So that one's stupid. I'm going to save the best one for last. It kind of, this all comes into play with like the English and all that. We're ignorant of other cultures, so that what they're saying is that when we go outside of the country, we're expecting everybody to just like cater to the Americans. Like in France, if you go up and you try to order something in English, they're just like, "Why are you?" Or didn't you talk about that? If you were to go to, was it China? The Asian gentleman that you went into that time.
When I went to shake his hand and he looked at me. Yeah.
If you were over there, and over here, that's an argument you could probably make either way. But over there, that's their culture. Why are they expected to kind of, change for you?
Right.
So, in my opinion, if you're going to another country, it might be good to kind of maybe hit the Google, and
Google Translate,
and check it out.
Absolutely.
And say, hey, is there something I shouldn't do that'll immediately offend people?
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and give that a half. I'm going to say I halfway agree with that.
Yeah.
What do you think? Because I agree.
I try to be respectful, but yeah, I'm not going to learn a language just to go on a
no,
week,
and that's
week
I'm
vacation.
talking about ignorant of other cultures.
Oh, okay, ignorant of I got you.
And it goes into what you said, which is we're kind of here. The Canadians, they can claim they have another culture. They don't. They
have good donuts.
Good donuts. And then Montreal or Quebec thinks they're like French Canadian. They're different. They're not. They're just whatever. But and of course the Mexican
Americans.
culture is and that's really it. Below us, of course, you have the Bahamas and you have other cultures there, but usually they don't care because you're giving them lots of money as a tourist.
Well, I mean, we're doing really well in Mexico, by the way.
Yes, we are. By the way, Mexico. Our numbers are skyrocketing.
Cartels are loving us right now.
Is that who loves us? Okay.
That's who we want to love us, right?
Do you think they'll find us in our Cabo hideout?
There we go. No. Please no.
Please no. But that's the only culture I think that's relatively close to us. Some would argue we have a few different cultures here in the United States. It's not just one culture, but I would also argue that there is a foundation culture that was here when the country was founded. So the last two are actually pretty good ones. The gun issue. The Europeans, of course, say they don't want anything to do with our country because of our gun issue. So I don't disagree totally because it is an issue. But they're just Americans and their guns. Just get rid of them. We've already talked about that. It's not as simple as that, in my opinion.
Why is the guns an issue? Is it they feel it's too violent, or they feel it's not safe?
Well, they feel it's not safe. They
so
feel
their,
like
their
shootings
country's
all over.
completely safe. Then is that what they're saying?
Well, because it's safe from guns.
No crimes over there.
Right.
Gotcha.
Well, there are, of course, I agree with you 100%, and I've had this conversation with a lot of our lovely British people when I lived over in Scotland. I talked with them, and they were just like, but if there's a murder in the UK, it's likely one or two people versus people that are able to take 10 lives in the span of a minute with automatic weapons or whatever.
Gotcha.
And so I think that's their argument, is that our crimes aren't quite as bloody and gory as yours.
So no bombings or anything. That's usually one or two people when they bomb over there.
They don't want to talk about the bombings. They want to talk about guns.
10-4.
So that's my only thing with the guns, is that I don't disagree with you, but you got to be realistic that there are bad people everywhere. So that is the first of the issues that I get, and they make sense. So the last one here really, really chapped my ass, Trey, and I'll use a phrase that you use, is our healthcare. They do not understand or appreciate the healthcare system.
Okay.
Now, what you have to do here, do you want to start or do you want me to go?
No, you're
Because
good.
I've got the chamber loaded.
Keep going.
If you have to describe what you mean. If you're talking about some of the details of how it all operates, okay, yes, we can have a discussion about it and why it's the way that it is. But if you're talking about the care itself, it is tops in the world, and you can't argue that. And I could tell a story about when I was over in Europe with universal healthcare, and I was treated horribly. So the argument there is, yes, you're paying for it, but when it comes down to it, don't you want great care? And that's a debate.
Right.
Some people say it doesn't matter if I'm going to walk out of there with a 6-digit lifelong bill that I have to pay off.
Right.
And so that's the issue. But if you want to talk about how universal healthcare operates,
Processes.
that's fine. But every country is different. And so when somebody, like I think we talked about, so like in Sweden, someplace like Sweden, the amount of people there and the way they have their socialism set up with their, I'm not speaking clearly when it comes to this, but they're paying 65 to 75% taxes, and the government's taking care of everything, and that includes healthcare.
Healthcare,
and
yes.
again, that's a very, very baseline way to put it, but that's essentially what's happening. Okay, but you also have like 6 people that live there. That's easier to maintain. And what we can talk about with Jess is the other issue here is just the amount of people in the hospitals, in the ER.
Right.
And that's because there's 300 and some odd, 300 million people here. And that's a little different than a place like a Scandinavian country or a small country that actually is able to carry out universal health care without a problem.
Right.
And that's just one example. There are a lot of them. Who pays for it? This country's in debt with a lot of things, and then we all disagree on how to spend government money and tax money. Some people think we shouldn't spend any on the military, and some think we should just be a superpower and spend it all. And that's another thing, is do we have the funds to do it? If anybody says you should tax the wealthy to redistribute for this, that's horseshit, in my opinion. Why do they have to do it? They can volunteer. So that one got me a little bit, as you can tell. I mean, that one, just because there's so much, and we can go off, and I don't want to go much longer because I really want to get Jess in here.
Cool.
She is, in fact, listening, so she may want to jump right in. I'll be like, hey, welcome, and then immediately she'll jump right in. But the point being, with all of these, none of them were that fun. I'm sure there are some funny ones. My point is that there are a lot of people, and this is what I told a lot of people in Scotland, is it's easy for you to sit over there and say, oh, it's this is how it should be. You guys are, crazy. Without it, no one's ever even been here, and they don't really know how it operates. And
Right.
it's different. It's just a different place than most of those places over there. We're so young, and when things were implemented, it was with a different mindset. Whether you want to talk about immigration, whether you want to talk about all these other things that were, the Second Amendment, all these things that Europe didn't, they didn't do that. That was a whole different thing.
Right.
So I just wanted to throw this back to the Europeans and know that I'm considering all of your feelings and your ideas.
Yeah.
You need to wee-wee? Or you have a wee-wee?
Yeah.
Okay. So I wanted to make sure that our listeners in Europe, either you appreciate what we just did, or you're going to spread the word and say, you got to listen to these idiots.
There we go. Either way, you're listening.
Either way, you're listening. So I think this was a good thing.
There we go.
How do you feel that was?
Fuck right off.
Are you fired
America.
up? Are you America? Are you fired up like I was there a little bit? Just
I gladly stand up.
yeah.
We're going to sing that.
No, that what you just did was good enough.
You like that?
Yeah.
That'll probably be edited, I'm sure.
I don't think so. I think I like that.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because they don't have a clue what that was.
I think we just lost our guest. I think she just ran out the door listening to this shit.
Oh, no, she's ready. I think she's ready. She and I vehemently disagree on a lot of things, but we also can come together on a lot of things. And I think that's why this is going to be fun.
How do you spell Vietnamese? Vietnamese. Goddamn.
First time, I'm not sure how to spell something that isn't pronounced correctly.
I'm just making up as we go. Anyway.
How do you spell
Vietnamese?
V-E?
How do you pronounce it? There we go.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Minutely.
Vehemently.
Oh, so okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So I'm looking forward to kind of spitballing here on some important topics and some other things and finding out from her. So at this time, I mean, we're only on audio, so if she did some like big walk-in entrance, nobody would see it. But let Trey and I just inform you that it's quite glamorous. She's come from work. She's got,
Get the strobe light going.
strobe light. She just cracked open the beer. She's ready to roll. And so...
America Healthcare at its finest.
Yeah. ER nurses drink too.
Absolutely.
So, hi, Jess.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for coming out.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, after a long day in the office, if you will.
Yes, but I'm not working tonight.
You're not.
Full moon.
Oh.
Cinco de Mayo.
Hey, we're not doing a full moon in here.
And it's Friday.
And it's Friday.
Yeah.
Okay. So instead, you've chosen to come impart wisdom on us.
Yes.
Oh.
And thank you for not doing the full moon. Please don't.
Which one?
I haven't had enough.
Either of us, or
Comes
both
after
of
the
us?
show.
Trey.
Okay.
We'll go full moon on this bad
Keep
boy.
drinking those beers, and we'll get the full moon.
Woo.
So I'm glad you came out. And Trey had mentioned before that he actually had experienced your expertise, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you tell me about you guys met somewhere? Or you guys were in the hospital?
So unfortunately, I got to visit her in the ER, and
You were a patient.
I was a patient dealing with kidney stones at the time, and they kept sending me home.
I heard those don't feel good.
At all.
Okay.
They kept telling me I'm going to pass it, or actually they said I had a chance to pass them. So I don't know how good that makes you feel when you
Did
leave
you ask
the
for
ER.
like a percentage?
Yeah, well, they said the size of them. They said they could pass, or we may have to go after them, but we'll send you home with some pain medicine. And
Go after them. Oh,
Yeah.
God. Okay.
So at the time, my ex-wife was working at the same hospital, and
Which ex-wife?
the second one.
Okay.
And said, just come up here. So I drove myself up to the ER, and Jess was able to get me into a room.
10 out of 10 pain.
Yeah.
Nice.
And she gets on the radio and proceeds to let them know that we need to get the biggest catheter possible.
Yes.
Yes.
freeway.
Yes.
I was like, oh, hell no.
Oh, I knew I loved Jess.
I'm pretty sure I came in with it slung over my shoulder.
Oh, she was ready.
I was going to put it in.
She was. Oh,
Like,
so wait. So just do it. Fast forward to the end. Did it ever happen?
Yes.
It did happen.
Yes, it did happen. I don't know if it was the
Did
biggest
she?
one.
But
Oh
did
my
she
God.
do it?
I didn't get to do it.
No, I don't guess so.
Would you be willing to do that to Trey here on the podcast?
No.
I actually
Trey,
think
Trey,
that I think he would prefer you to do it. I could walk you through it.
Ooh, I would like to learn.
I do.
I'm actually precepting a new nurse right now.
Ooh,
I
but I
do.
don't need to know anything other than just how to put a catheter in.
Well,
Okay. There's
First
only
off-
one. There's only one place to go on a mail. Oh wait, no.
So
it's
can I
not,
just
actually.
do I?
wait a minute,
can-
what is a preceptor, first of all, before we get in? I don't even know what the hell that is.
But
We're using
can-
big words here.
Yes, but so I don't really need to learn. I just cram it in.
Pretty much.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then there we go. Then would you like me to perform this?
Well, you know I do prefer the touch of a man. So
Jess, you're on. It's you. I'm not doing that.
All right.
wait a minute. There's 2 ways to go in? Wait a minute.
Yes.
No.
Wait. Hold. Everybody needs to calm down.
Sorry. No. It is getting confusing here.
I didn't hear that there are 2 ways. Did somebody say there are 2 ways to go?
Is that through the nose or what are we
Well,
doing here?
I said fortunately for a male, there's only one place.
Oh, there's only
Oh,
one place.
okay.
Unless
we
you
get
do
creative.
put a catheter in rectally,
Oh, God.
which you can do
What's the purpose of that?
to administer medication.
Anally.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, that could be fun.
If
it-
you
does it
can't
hit
take it by
quicker?
mouth.
See, you and I think differently on this, Trey.
Well, wait a minute. So let me ask you this: so if they start with the catheter and it doesn't work, do they
God.
take it out and put it in the mouth at that point to see if it works,
Only if we don't like
or does it go the other way around? Does it go mouth first
Jess,
and then butt?
Jess, we apologize. You've been
No?
here for
Is that not how?
a minute and 30 seconds. And we're already talking about the
We're
catheters.
talking about
in the
butt to
butt.
mouth and mouth to butt with the catheter.
Okay.
Do they kind of swab that after they reuse it? No.
we wipe it off with.
I mean, this is American healthcare right here.
We wipe
at
it
its
off with a
finest.
purple wipe.
I was just trying to tell the Europeans we had the best care. And we're talking about transferring
yeah.
from anus to mouth.
Hopefully, they stopped listening by now. So
Well, that's definite.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Jess, moving on real fast. Do you like mayonnaise?
I do.
Okay, because you're white.
who doesn't like
Right.
mayonnaise?
I am white.
You are white, but and that's because so that's why you like mayonnaise. Trey and I have learned that.
Sure.
Do you prefer the toilet paper roll over or under?
I'm an under kind of girl.
Oh my
You know
God!
what, Trey? I'm starting to think that it is a male.
End it right now.
Just she's out.
Cut it off
I'm
right
trying
now.
to think that it is a male female thing.
No, because I actually got yelled at about this. I actually got a phone call from the episode. What episode was it in when we discussed this? Oh, toilet paper roll.
It was like
8.
2 episodes ago.
Okay, I actually got a phone call
listener.
after she listened to the episode, and she's like, "I cannot believe
Fired up.
you don't know that I prefer the toilet paper over instead of under."
Oh,
She goes, "I'm upset with that."
she's a catch.
Can I just be honest?
Be honest. Yeah, we
The
need to
fact
allow
that
you
you
to
even
elaborate.
put a toilet roll back on there after it's been empty is just I don't care.
As long as you put it back on.
As long
Like
as you
there's
just
one
put
there.
It,
Yeah, I'm the best
Yeah.
at that.
yeah.
Right. My wife prefers it to be under. I think we talked about that. So we'll end this conversation because you and I did talk about this on the show.
We did.
So I won't mention that. But she believes that it's under. A lot of women I've talked to like under, but it makes it more difficult for us if we're trying to reach over to it while we stand. Okay, I'm just curious on what your thoughts were.
Well, my woman likes the over,
Okay, well, good for her.
so. And I
You
got
know
yelled
what?
at
Should
for
we
it.
just have her on and let them debate toilet paper for
There we
2
go.
hours? Yeah, that'd be fun. Can white men dance?
No,
Hell yes. Are you kidding me?
absolutely not.
I just wanted to poke the bear over there.
Have you seen our president dance? Have you seen the ex?
Well, there are outliers.
Either any president. Have you-
There
I
are
haven't seen a
outliers,
big
but
dance.
I can definitely dance.
No,
Yes.
Okay, well,
you cannot.
is it morally right for a nurse to go on strike?
Yes.
It is. Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean,
Why wouldn't it be?
I like the yes and no, but now I want more. And she did what I asked her to do before, which is say yes or no. So elaborate.
I think that just because
It's about the patients, right?
it is about the patient.
Okay.
I mean, you have to do it for patient care, but it's also about a job. We have to have safe working environments, proper staffing,
What I meant is when you go on strike, you're leaving the patients with lesser care.
So
To-
you
to a
actually,
point.
so typically when unions strike, so Texas is a
Right to work?
right to work state, correct? Yeah, so we're a non-union state, but I did work in Massachusetts where we have unions. Typically, they will actually give the hospitals quite some time. Hey, we're going to be striking on X day, and so they do give the hospitals a good amount of warning that they will not have hospital staff. And then
Well, that's good.
if they do still have patients and they need to have patient care, they hire staff in. So there's
That's good.
yeah, there's
I
temporary
mean,
nurses
is that
come
really
in.
a strike, or is that like a?
Well, yeah,
This is
because
our version of a strike.
they have
Yeah,
to pay those temporary nurses quite well.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
No, I don't have obviously a thought on either side. I was just curious. I'd heard that question asked,
Yeah.
and I thought, who better?
I
to
mean,
ask?
you can't technically leave in the middle of your shift because that would be considered patient abandonment and you'd probably get, lose your license.
So even if you were saying you're going on strike, the patient abandonment would
Yeah, you wouldn't go
overpower that.
physically in the middle of your shift. It would be a
Okay.
planned
A
strike.
planned strike. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Interesting.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
know. I didn't know how that worked. Well, good. Do you have any fun questions for her before we really dive in?
No.
Well, he wants to know more about the catheter and the bump.
Yeah, I mean, you can see him over there, just kind of lost in the days of what's going to happen with that catheter.
Actually, I do have a question. This came up on the last show.
Oh,
So whenever I was going in and getting medication for the kidney stones and stuff like that, we were discussing when it comes to marijuana. What I say, I have I metabolize medicine very quickly. So I was curious, do you think that happens with marijuana the same way?
Sure.
You can metabolize it quickly?
Yeah.
Okay.
but in the same way that you would actual
Medication?
chemical medication.
I'd have to actually do research
That's
on
what I thought.
marijuana and
I
how
didn't
it's
know.
processed through your kidneys or your liver or whatever. There's some medication that's processed through your liver and your kidneys, and whether you have kidney damage or liver issues.
Oh, okay.
I
So
could-
a lot of that comes
I
into
couldn't
play.
imagine that. I think I said this. I can't imagine that marijuana would
metabolize the same way.
the same way through the liver, or I guess would have the same impact on the liver. Because if it does, that's a whole nother reason for people to kind of tone it down. Because you're just adding to. I mean,
Yeah.
And
says the guy that
admittedly,
drinks scotch.
I
every
have to
night.
say that I have not listened to the whole episode
Ugh.
because I was at work, unfortunately. But I will say that I've never once had to intubate a patient due to a marijuana overdose. But I've lost count how many patients we've had to intubate due to too much alcohol, which is
Interesting.
legal.
Right.
So
That's a fun factoid.
That's interesting because we won't go too much on the last show, but I mean that was one of my points was that it is dangerous. It's been proven to be dangerous to your lungs. I think they were saying that one joint was as bad as 5 cigarettes, and so it's not just as simple as we've never had to do this for this and this. Although you're telling me that that's the case, so it's interesting.
interesting, yeah.
yeah. I think I've had one person come. I mean, apart from cannabinoid hyperemesis, look it up.
Do you
but
understand what that is, Trey?
yes,
I just heard hyper. That's the only thing I understood.
I heard cannabinoid. Or
Compared to
something.
voices.
when people smoke too much marijuana,
Okay.
they get really
Okay.
sick.
And what was it called again?
Hypercannabinoid emesis.
Okay.
Hyper. Yeah.
For
do you
those
spell
of you out there that want to actually know what it means.
HY.
Can we get that on a shirt?
But I think I had someone come in once and she said, I ate a whole bunch of brownies and I'm really sleepy. And I said, ma'am, that's what's supposed to happen.
Go home and go to bed.
Must have been.
Go home and enjoy it. I wish I could partake,
It
but
must have
I
been.
can't.
It must have
'cause
been
I'm
a bunch of
nurse.
chamomile in
Can
there.
I
or
lick the
something.
chocolate off your fingers before you leave?
For real.
Yeah. Do you have any left?
Seriously.
Right.
Did you bring some to
Yeah.
share?
That's
You taste
funny.
those lips real quick.
Okay. He always brings it to that one more, one above where we should.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. He's got to take it to the next level.
That's why. That's why I brought him on
That way you
board.
invited me?
So, well, that's interesting. So, let's dive in.
Okay.
Okay. I just feel like every show I say, all right, it's time to talk serious, because ever since we started doing that, people have been so fascinated how we can be so stupid and also so brilliant at the same time. Are you even listening, Trey?
Huh?
So
I lost you at
one
brilliant.
of us is so stupid and one of us is so brilliant. No. So I want to bring up a topic that I thought that we were gonna bring up way down the road, because it's one of the most polarizing topics in the country right now. I'm gonna pause for effect for the listeners. Okay.
Manscaping?
No, I definitely need to wait on that one for effect. But it's up there in my opinion. I think it's probably top 3, even maybe top 5. And I know that elections, it's a big deal for people. And although somebody like myself doesn't view that as the top priority for an elected official, especially at the federal level, I understand that a lot of people do kind of feel like this is an issue that will represent which side I'm going to vote for. So, without ado, this topic is the topic of abortion and the topic of women's
Right to choose.
Right to choose. There you go. I'm going to let you jump right in. But I do have something that I want to explain my opinion on why there are two sides to this and why it's hard to be gray on this issue versus some other issues.
Sure.
So do you have let's just jump right in?
I mean, I look at this as a woman. It's hard for me not to see a lot of other choices because I'm a woman. But as a healthcare provider, I see how women are going to really suffer from not getting appropriate care, not being able. So
from a care standpoint,
correct.
Not
what you're saying is
not the abortion itself, but the care.
Well, what you're saying is abortions are going to happen, but now they're going to have to go underground again.
Well, underground or to a different state, or maybe even not, or maybe even be denied. Medical procedures because they need to be, and it's not even a choice. It's because they need an emergent abortion, a medical abortion. The baby isn't viable, the fetus isn't viable. The mother's at risk.
So even something like that's not even black and white now.
Correct.
So the doctor at that point has to figure out.
Right.
If they had the opportunity to take that baby at that point. Mm-hmm. Interesting. That's scary.
Yeah, that was a whole big situation right there that you guys lumped into about 12 seconds. And it's a lot broader than that, I imagine. Sure. And then you're talking about who pays for it. Then you're getting into Planned Parenthood, all these topics that relate to abortion and the safety of women that choose to do that. And so that's the one topic. The other topic, I'll try and do this quickly so that this is my opinion on why this is difficult in this country and probably around the world. And it has to do with another lovely topic that is very polarizing. That's the topic of religion. And so in my opinion, people who are not religious, or I'm sorry, I should specify a lot of religion, yes, but mainly in this country, Christian. The people that aren't Christian, they believe, and again, this is based on research, experience, talking to people. If you disagree, we can talk about that too. But based on what I've learned, people that aren't Christian or not religious, they don't believe that the soul is established at conception. They don't. But Christians and people who are very spiritual or very religious believe that as soon as conception happens, and when that at conception, the soul is there immediately. And so what happens is at any point, if that soul is aborted, then that's murder. But somebody that doesn't believe that the soul is established and doesn't believe in a soul, honestly, some of them, they go by more of a scientific approach, which is when's the spine connected to the brain and when's the heart beating and all those things. And so if you get to that before that point or whatever else, then you're not killing, to be kind of blunt with that. You're not aborting a human being. You're aborting what could become a human being.
Right.
Well, why wouldn't a decision like this be based solely on scientific facts?
Well, because people believe that religion trumps science.
Well, because spirituality and all that kind of good stuff, that's what they believe in. I get it. That's what their faith, all that kind of good stuff. But why wouldn't they use that as
all that kind of good stuff?
I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry.
I know. No.
Why
We don't need to edit this.
Yeah.
I know what you're trying to say. You're saying that the science is there, no matter what you believe.
Right. This should be made
the
scientific.
The spine hasn't connected yet. The heart hasn't started beating yet.
Right.
This is, you've caught it before whatever point. And again, if I knew more of the actual, scientific stats as far as when and how and all that.
Right.
But that's my understanding. And so, but my point is that science kind of to a point gets thrown out the door because they believe that God, that overpowers anything else.
Yeah.
And so it's on its way to becoming a human being. That means it is, because they don't believe in the human body as being the all it. It's the soul. The human body is just a place for the soul to stay for
That's
a little
ridiculous. I'm sorry.
But how do these
But
people
does that make
believe
sense?
And
Does that make sense to you?
sure.
Okay, so
I can understand
The
why
body-
they would believe that. I get that. But when it comes to something like this, I would think science should trump any kind of decision like that when it comes to this type of topic.
well, and a lot of people agree with you, and a lot of people don't, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
But I also think
Go
that
ahead.
they have to be across the board. If they're going to say that a soul is a soul, then they shouldn't, and maybe they don't agree in capital punishment, which you've talked about. You know?
That's
And
one I've heard.
That is a soul.
Well, this is what I've heard is the post birth argument, and and in my opinion, it goes both ways. So you're looking at majority the left, the liberal side that tends to be pro-choice, and then they are also, which means you can abort pregnancies, you can abort life in a sense, according to the other side. But then they want to take care of everybody, every kid, every immigrant, every refugee, everybody. But you're able to. This is the argument. I'm not saying this. This is the argument. You're able to kill them before they're born, but once they're here, then everybody else needs to take care of them.
Yeah.
The other side of it is the right side, the conservatives who are pro-life. We need every child to be born, no matter what. This is just, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. But once you're here, we need everybody to work hard. And if you are in a situation that you're in trouble, sorry.
Or if you're not from this country originally,
Or if you're
we're
not
going
from
to
this
send you
country.
back to where you
Well, but that's a whole nother debate.
I know.
And I don't know if that's right or wrong. We'll get there. We'll get there. I'm just trying to get the anticipation for that
why
next
you're-
topic.
That's why you're right when you say there's really no one answer for everything. There's really not.
No, and I believe that in some topics you can get close. In the gray area, there's a close. This one's more difficult. And that's why I wanted to talk to you about it. A nurse, somebody that's got a lot of medical knowledge, more than our doctor.
And she's a woman.
And she's a woman.
Yeah.
That played a
That
huge
helps.
The
part
last time
into
I
it.
checked, I was.
Yeah.
And so it's not just the science, but I wanted to lead with that because that's what I believe is the problem, is that the majority of this, and again, you've obviously got your middle ground on your, what do you call that, where the three circles are on top of each other. You know what I'm talking about? The graph.
Not a pentagram.
Not a pentagram. It's called a Venn diagram. There you go.
There you go.
See, pentagram got me there, though. A pen.
I almost had you.
You did. I was like, yeah, so a pentagram.
I'm just trying to picture a bunch of circles here going on in a triangle.
The Venn diagram, there is an overlap on the circles, and in that area is where what we always claim is where the answer lies, in the gray area. And so there are people that are kind of in there with this issue, but they're not a lot compared to other issues where I think a lot of people are kind of middle going, everyone's being ridiculous on both sides. In this case, I think people that are truly pro-life are on this side going, you're an idiot. And on the other side, it's the same way. And I think that's the difference with abortion. That's why I wanted to talk not only about the religious aspect of it, the science aspect of it, but the women, their bodies, their choice, and all of this, and how that plays in. Men, how does that play in? That was kind of broad, but
Yeah.
just go off.
Well, and I think men.
Tell us it's not mansplaining.
Well, and it's hard for me to say, that men should have, because I battle with that. Men, if you're the father of a child, you should have a right to say, this is what I want and this is what I don't want in the decision of this baby or this potential child.
I did not see that coming. Go
Don't
ahead.
steal my
I
thunder
know.
here.
I can surprise you. But at the same time, how can I guarantee that you're going to be around for 18 years?
Another good point. And that's with the direct. That's with the father directly. That's what you're talking about. Is
Correct.
the father of the child,
Right.
in question.
Well, is it
or
not
the
fair?
Fetus in question.
Sorry to interrupt you there.
No,
Sorry,
no.
is it not fair that I personally, I'm pro-choice, so I feel like the woman has complete control of what she wants to decide to do with her body and that pregnancy. But on the flip side, wouldn't it be fair to say that a man also then would also have a right on whether or not they want to be in the life of that child? Because if she's choosing to keep the baby, he can't talk her out of it. I get that. It's her choice. But at that point,
Well, I'm sure some people have talked her out of it, but
well,
I know what you're saying.
if he can't talk her out of it,
Right.
he should have the right then to back completely out of it.
And not
I
be
would think,
responsible.
and not be responsible for it. You know, he takes away all rights, done. Okay, you made the choice. You want to have the child. I don't want to be part of the child's baby. So
Right.
financially, I should not be responsible at that point.
So we've just lost all of our women listeners. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I'm just
Kidding.
saying.
No.
I mean, and
I hear
I'm just
you,
throwing
man.
that. And actually, that got brought up by a woman. She told me that, and she's
Yeah.
like, you know, is this not a valid argument too? So she has complete rights of what to do with that child.
Right.
The man doesn't. So because it's not his body.
Flip it around. Tell me what you think of that, Jess and Trey. Flip it around. Say the woman decides that she wants to
Abort.
have an abortion, and the dad's like, no.
Mm-hmm.
What happens there? Why does he not have a say? Is it solely because it's her body? And obviously, that's what's going on in this country. Is all the women, not all. My generalizations need to be toned down, but everybody that knows this by now, Ryan, him and his generalizations,
Right.
So women as a whole
Mm-hmm.
are out there kind of going, hey, my body, my choice.
Right.
Leave us alone. This has nothing to do with you. All you had to do was, climax.
Right.
You man. But if the man really wants to have the child, and it is half his, what's being
Correct.
made,
Yeah.
should he be able to go in and have maybe some sort of court? I mean, it gets crazy if you think about it that way.
Yeah.
Your way was kind of okay, but this way is weird because it is the woman's body.
Right. And I wouldn't even begin to know if that even happens because you only have a limited amount of time before you can make this decision. I think in the state of Texas, it's 6 weeks. Most women don't even
Right.
know they're pregnant.
Right.
At 6 weeks.
Wow.
That's my biggest
That's
concern.
another issue too. Yeah.
Is unless you're trying to get pregnant, which obviously if you're trying to get pregnant, you wouldn't be seeking other
Right.
options. But if you don't realize that you're pregnant until it's too late, you're kind of limited at that point.
I thought it was the first trimester. Is that inaccurate?
I think the heartbeat bill is 6 weeks.
Okay. I don't know where I got
I'd
that
have to
from.
look it up,
Yeah,
but I
I
think-
need to readdress that. But I thought it was to a point to where it would be more obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Although you hear those crazy stories about people not knowing until like the 8th month or something, which I don't know if I buy that.
Oh, that's happened.
It's happened,
Mm-hmm.
and then like, not to be too graphic, and somehow you and I are always going to pull back toilets and bathrooms into our discussions. But I heard there were some women that actually went and thought they were, something was wrong, and they sat down in the toilet and had the baby.
Yep.
Wow.
It's happened.
But yeah, I mean, that's to me that I don't even want to think about that because that doesn't make any sense. But if it is 6 weeks, and say it's at the 8-week mark, and somebody finds out they're pregnant, and they say, you know what, I'm not ready. About all the things that you say, and I want to get an abortion. What you're saying is that they couldn't because they missed it by 2 weeks,
Correct.
and there's no
I
alternative.
believe in most of the states that have issued. So when they reversed Roe v. Wade.
Yeah, let's go there, and then we'll. Okay,
So
perfect.
Roe v. Wade was, I think, either it was in one of the years very close to when I was born.
60. Oh, I thought it was 68.
Sir.
70. Not when you were born. I thought Roe v. Wade was more of like a 68. No, it's 70s.
73
Man,
or
I should.
74.
You know what? Just tell us what you think, and then I'll.
I think it was 73.
I'll look it up while you're talking.
And I think it was
Go ahead.
Amendment number 14, if I believe.
I don't know how
about
we're
the
talking about abortion. I don't have this pulled up, but go ahead.
privacy to healthcare. But that's when they made it federal, that the federal courts could decide that Roe v. Wade abortion was legalized.
You mean
federally.
January 22nd, 1973?
There you go.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what I was going to say.
Yes. So when Roe v. Wade was overturned, what they did was they left it to the individual states.
Now you're talking about recent.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. So
That's my thunder. But go ahead.
yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
But when that happened, individual states, and there's quite a significant amount of them in the southern area,
Right.
that have all pretty much banned abortion by about 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, which is commonly known as the heartbeat bill.
So correct me if I'm wrong, and this is my, admittedly not knowing.
Mm-hmm.
On these states, you're telling me that before that 6 weeks, it is still legal.
In these states.
It's still legal in these states before a certain amount of time.
In some states, yeah. Every state is very different.
Are there any that have absolutely not, even if it's 2 weeks in? I mean, I don't know if you'd have to randomly get tested.
I think there are some, yes.
That are absolutely not.
Yes.
That's interesting.
I think there are some. Yeah.
To go back to the overturning of Roe v. Wade, when I if you can't tell yet, those listening, I'm very, very. I try to be so neutral with this because socially, I do lean left sometimes, and I feel like, it is a choice, and it's this, and I've been in situations where I'm like, oh, there's no way in my life this can happen. But at the same time, I respect all sides of it and different things. So I try and stay neutral. But when Roe v. Wade, I found myself explaining to a lot of people that were really freaking out about Roe v. Wade being overturned, to the point where they were like, march and protested and pitchforks and burn everything. And I was like, okay, everybody calm down. All that this was doing was overturning it to take it away from federal power to give it to states.
Correct.
Nothing has been technically overturned in the legality sense. It's just been handed over to the states. And what I'm recently learning is that there are 18. You said about 18
I
states.
It was like 14.
14 states.
Yeah, I looked up earlier.
That have actually implemented some laws regarding abortion. And so I just feel like that changes things and from Roe v. Wade. But you were making a point about that overturning.
Well, I just looked up a quick map that this is legal before cardiac cell activity is one state.
And that's around, I think
And then
that's
illegal,
around the 6 weeks, right?
Illegal, completely illegal is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Wow.
14 states.
Is completely no matter what.
Yeah.
I'm shocked to hear that.
Except for medical emergencies. Now,
Right.
I did look this up
Sure.
because of the state of Texas, but in the state of Texas, there are some legal medical emergencies that you could receive care for. However, the problem with that is we have a lot of providers that don't want to do it.
Right.
Because they are scared for their license, for their own, the hospitals, the clinics that they work for.
Yeah, their whole, I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
But even if it falls under the category of it needs to be done because there's risk to the mother, they're still scared. Mm-hmm. That's interesting to me. I just feel like as a doctor, if you found out like, oh, the mother's going to possibly die, you're not accountable for that law or breaking that law, if you will, that you would just do it. But so that does add a lot to the issue for sure. I feel like the late term thing really bothers me.
Late term abortion.
Late term abortions really bothers me because again, I am like I told you, I'm a little closer to you than you think when it comes to this topic. But I'm pro-choice to a point, mm-hmm. and that's where I think the gray area resides. Is that anything late term, unless the mother is pretty high percentage chance she's going to die, I don't see how that can be anything that would be allowed at all, because that's at that point that is a child. That's obvious. Mm-hmm. I don't. Oxygen comes through. Into that child. People like to say that, well, until he or she's breathing. No, you're receiving oxygen through, is it the umbilical cord? Mm-hmm. Whatever. Correct. Nutrients. I mean, this is a child now, in whatever definition you want to say it. I just think there's no reason for anybody to, unless they're going to die mm-hmm. during childbirth, there's no reason to do it. And I've heard stories where people panic 7 months in and they go, I changed my mind.
And I actually probably agree with you on that topic.
I hope.
No, I do. I do. I agree in the fact that I don't think abortion should be used as birth control.
Right.
I'm probably gonna.
Right, but how do you monitor that?
I'm probably gonna piss off some of my leftist friends.
Well, I'm okay with that.
I'm okay.
Let's
with
piss
that.
off both sides.
I don't think that birth control. I don't think that abortion should be used as birth control.
Right.
I think that, but I also don't think a lot of women are using it for that. I think a lot of women really struggle with that decision. Is this something that I really want to do? I mean, it's a decision. It's a hard decision to make.
Well, I'd like to jump in because I think some people forget that making that decision to have an abortion is not one that just say, you know what, I really don't want to have this. Let me just stop by the hospital to get this taken out. Blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
I know somebody that went through one. They talk to you about it. They actually send you home to think about it before then you go through it
I
again.
wonder if that's all of them. I can't imagine that's all of them. Was it just her experience, or is
That's the only experience I've heard of.
okay? But Jess, does that do more?
I'm not sure because I don't know. I've never really.
That's interesting to me. I've heard of that, but I didn't know it was
Yeah.
like a kind of a universal thing.
So, and I mean, I know she went through a lot of, emotional stuff after it happened. So I know this is not a decision that's made lightly. And I think maybe some of these people that are pro-life are thinking these women are just making this decision as what you were saying is as birth control. And that's not, I don't think that's the case.
Yeah.
I unfortunately, I'm sure there are some.
Sure. I'm sure it happens.
Just like on the flip side, I know I've heard stories, from my ex where women would come in and super high or addicted to drugs and have a baby and leave. Just get this out of me and leave. And they're why aren't we doing something about that?
Well, ironically, the people that on the pro-life side would probably appreciate that. Like, have the baby, at least have it, and then we can put it up for adoption or we can whatever, even though the baby's probably has issues because of drugs and alcohol.
And just putting them up for adoption is not simple. I mean, I know friends that have gone through the adoption process. It's very difficult to be able to get a child. And, imagine getting one with health issues and stuff like that. That's, I don't know.
But I imagine there are people that want to take that on, kind of like rescue dogs. I know that sounds silly to compare, but rescue dogs, children, babies that have issues, and people want to say, you know what, I'm going to give them a good life as long as I can, because they're not able to have kids or because of whatever reason.
Well,
and so I'm just saying their argument is to not abort that baby. Go ahead and have it, and then we'll deal with it.
And well, unfortunately, I've overheard people that have done that. I actually knew of a woman that adopted children that had AIDS, and to give them a good life, and like what you're saying. And I was like, oh, that's very noble, right? I overheard her saying, yeah, I get another check from that one and stuff, referencing to the financial help that they get from the government just by taking these kids in.
Interesting. Well, that's a whole nother. I don't know enough about that. And that's the point. Does it become, the other issue? I feel like we cut you off, Jess. We have Jess on here. We're like all talking over.
It's okay.
But because we're already deep into the show, and I love this, and so I want to make sure I get to everything. Did you have anything to add to what we were just saying before we move on? I've got like two more things I want to hit on this topic.
No, but I do. I think we talked about it before. Isn't that a typical woman?
Yeah, you're like, no, I have nothing to say.
No,
but
I
hold on
have
a
nothing
second.
to say,
Hold
but.
on a second.
Let me tell you this.
Where do you want to go for dinner? I don't care.
Right.
Where do you want to go? Mexican?
No,
I don't want that. No.
Typical.
Yeah.
Typical woman. What I want to say is I'm glad that we can talk about this, because I think we've talked before that women, I don't know the exact numbers, but say women are exactly 50% of the U.S. That's only
It's closer than we think. It's like pretty close, yeah.
And that's only 50% of the vote. So we need men.
I think you're the majority, by the way. I think you're like 51.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I like
I think
that.
so.
We need men behind us to help us.
Hello. What are we talking about? I'm back in this.
That's the loudest Trey got.
Funny, he wasn't paying attention until
men
I
behind
said,
us.
Hold on. What are we talking about now? I thought we
Trey-
were talking about abortion. But
Trey's
now
back. Trey's
about the
back.
men behind us.
I do
Anyway,
have a
sorry.
yoga class tomorrow.
There we go.
Downward dog.
There.
You are actually diving into, no pun intended with yoga. Don't you? Never mind.
You do, yeah.
You're diving into one of the two topics
Yes.
that I had.
Oh,
which is-
good.
yeah.
Good.
This is perfect. So
Good.
continue. I mean, it's
That's
essentially
okay.
about the fact that I'm tired of being told I have a penis, so I need to show. I'm okay being told I have a penis. I'm tired of being told I have a penis, so I need to shut up.
No.
But I heard that
I
when
know.
Roe v. Wade happened, and I was just trying to discuss with people, and people that don't even know me were telling me this, and it got out of hand. It was, and then of course I get defensive, and I'm like, well, good luck without having the entire male,
No, I'm the opposite.
population on your side. Well, and this is amazing. That's why we're having you on the show.
And that's because I say, don't you have a wife, a sister, a mother, a daughter, a niece,
Sure,
a
but you
cousin?
also
you
need
have some woman in your life that could possibly be affected by the
Yeah.
and that's the emotional standpoint. I'm even going further than that and saying, if you want to get anything done, if you want to get any kind of laws
Sure.
overturned or something that's done, guess what? You need men because a lot of them are involved in that decision making.
Yeah.
As much as you might hate that, it's true. I'm saying
I don't hate
I'm
men.
saying for this issue.
Yes.
As much for this issue, my body, women, blah, 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 blah. There go the other 5 women listeners. My body, blah, blah, blah. But unfortunately, it's not like all men are going, okay, we're handing all this issue completely over to you guys and you can figure it out. You have to have a uterus in order to vote about this issue. And it's just not going to happen. And so you need us, instead of telling us to fuck off, let's talk.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
We're going to bring you to our side.
Well, and on the flip side, I'd be curious how many women on the pro-life side that are very religiously behind this. What percentage of that women are that way too? So
It's a lot.
I think there are a lot. I mean, and there are a lot of religious women, and they go to church, and this is just what they've been told to believe. And unfortunately, in a lot of ways, I believe that people grow up and they're comfortable there. This is what they feel spiritually or whatever they claim, and that ends up being the way they feel.
And
So,
I'd be really curious, and I would hate to put this on anybody, but the ones that are very religiously behind the pro-life, if something were to happen, like a rape or assault or something to that effect, how strongly would they stay behind their faith to let that person go through that pregnancy,
that's interesting.
knowing that how they got pregnant and having to live through that
Yeah.
piece of it alone, and then give birth to the child of the person that raped her.
Yeah. So let's say there's a middle-aged woman who's religious, goes to church every Sunday, and she's just grown up as a Baptist. And then she has a daughter who's 17 and raped and is now pregnant. Is she
wants her to
no
go
matter
through that
what,
pregnancy?
you better go through with it, and we're going to look at this child, unfortunately, for that poor. I have, now that I have young kids, I think about the baby, and even though it's not really a baby, whatever, it's still, to me, I'm thinking the poor soul never had a chance, and here it goes. But it would be the product of that, and there probably would be some poor treatment and some unintentional poor treatment, because their whole lives are going to look at this baby. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like there's always going to be this
Knowing.
horrible rapist. Is you look like that person, or
Right.
you? I mean, and I can't imagine going through that. And so, when it comes to rape victims, I have a little bit more sympathy there.
And what if the assaulter,
I think he assaulter. Works?
The perp?
Assault. Yeah.
can I use the word perp?
Sure. Use the word perp. We're not cops, but
The perp.
let's get the perp.
What if the perp was a different culture? And so then you've really got that, you're looking
That
at
reminder.
every,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or and obviously,
What if she was 14?
Sure, even younger.
mean-
17 is bad enough, but I mean, you're right. If she was,
That's terrible.
and how possible is it that a pregnancy does enough damage that she can never have kids again if she goes through with it?
Yeah.
well, but at the same time, abortions have been known to do that as well.
Okay.
So I hear your argument. I'm just saying that you could have an abortion and have that happen too.
Gotcha.
I know a young lady who had 2 over, she was like 23 and then 31, something like that. And they said she lost 75% of her ability to have it happening. And so I've heard both sides on that. I just didn't want to lead anybody the wrong way totally. But you're right. If you go through the pregnancy at that age,
And it's a
especially.
difficult pregnancy at the end.
Yeah.
Having and
At a
it
young
does
age
enough
like
damage.
that?
Yeah. So I don't know, and I know we're talking
So her
about
whole life's
one-offs.
over.
I know we're talking about one-offs as far as
Right.
these situations are concerned, but it's always something I'd be curious that the people that are very pro-life, faced with a decision like that, how do they decide? Do they stay strong with their faith?
Right.
You know.
And you know what? A lot of them do. In my opinion, that's a little bit unfortunate because it's going. I can't imagine God would want somebody to the whole argument of it happened for a reason and God's purpose and all this stuff. I don't know. You're here for one stint at this, and this young lady in this case, we're talking about the young lady. Her whole life, this is always going to scar her. Mm-hmm. Not the pregnancy, the rape.
The rape alone, yeah.
She's already got that.
Right.
And so all of a sudden now you're talking about an abortion could also scar her.
Yeah, that's true.
But having the child is the extreme scarring. So she's got all these issues already. And I can't imagine somebody going, yeah, but it's okay. God wants you to have this child.
Right.
And people do, I'm sure. And I'm sure that there are young girls that believe them and go, okay, Mom.
What if we take it just a little bit further? So
here we go. Trey's getting all crazy.
Yeah. Well, let's say the guy that assaulted her gets how many years in prison? I don't know how long that, let's say 5 to 10 years.
Should be more than that if it was straight up rape.
Right.
Up to 20, I think, is what they do now.
Okay.
Hopefully.
So he gets out after 20 years. Doesn't he have rights to that child? I mean,
Do you know that, Jess? I don't know the answer to that question.
Wouldn't he have rights to that
Damn,
child?
Trey.
I mean, that's
easy with all these great
because
questions.
I'm assuming at some point they probably go through trial. They prove that he raped her. Well, that proves that that's his baby.
Mm-hmm.
So
I feel like
he's done his time.
parental
and now
rights
all of
when
a
he comes
sudden,
out. Does he get to come back into her life? If she keeps the child.
That can't be true, right?
I feel like
That would be horrible.
in a country where we can sue McDonald's because we're fat.
Or sue McDonald's
it's
because
possible.
they spilled coffee.
I
and
feel
burned
like
their leg.
that. I feel like there's probably a case
Yeah.
where that has happened.
So
Yeah,
Well,
That'd be
that's
interesting.
Yeah, that's a good point. But
and that's terrible.
That would be
I
terrible.
can't even imagine that happening.
So, I mean, what if, she's assaulted, she goes through the pregnancy, let's say she keeps the child. Mm-hmm. Okay, she gets past all of that and looks at this as a miracle. Mm-hmm. He gets out, he comes back, searches for that child. He's technically proven in court the father,
Right.
How does that happen?
But I'm just saying, there's a chance that we don't know for sure that the fact that he raped her and was in prison would not qualify him to be.
Well,
right.
If anything, he might be financially responsible, and he'd be like, "Oh shit."
Well,
but he has no rights to the kid, to the child, or to the 20-year-old.
So,
of course, by that point, it'd be 20-year-old. That case, that would be if it was like 10 years in and he got out on for some reason.
Right.
But if the kid's an adult now, then it becomes up to that adult to whether they want to see him or not.
yeah, that's very true.
But can you imagine? I mean, why would you can't possibly? I can't imagine there's somebody that's 21, 22 years old and their biological donor, I call him, gets out and they
Curiosity.
want to see.
I mean, it could be curiosity. Just simple
why'd you
curiosity.
do it or something like that?
And let's say he gets out, he's rehabilitated. Awesome. Which
That's
is
tough.
very far fetched too. But now he's in this child's life, who's still part of the woman's life, and in a roundabout way, and that's just going to be a constant haunt, of a reminder of what happened to her. So,
Sure.
not to mention obviously the child too. But
And how do you even talk to the child about that?
yeah,
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's happened.
I watched too much Law and Order. SVU.
I was going to say, I feel like this is a plot somewhere for
You
multiple
watch too
movies.
much CSI.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this is some sort of dark movie that, and then he gets back involved and
Yeah.
It's
has
probably
a relationship with their friend or something crazy.
Yeah.
Probably a Lifetime movie.
Yeah.
I've seen some
Definitely
interesting
see Trey
stories on
watching it.
SVU.
Yeah. I haven't ever watched
I have to
that.
reach out to
I
Olivia
don't watch
Benson.
those stuff. I don't. The Law and Order and police shows I can't do. I don't know why. I think it's because it hits too hard. It hits too close to home. I feel like I could walk out that door and that could happen right here, and that bothers me. I want sci-fi,
Yeah.
so I at least a part of me believes that's not going to happen.
I mean, these SVU stories, some of the stories they come up with, and it's a baffling. So
I'll tell you what, this is a great. I mean, I really do feel like this topic we could go on and on and on about, and I don't know how to sum it up. I do want to move on so we can get these other ones in because we're already going really long. But I think that what I got from you, Jess, tonight was a pretty good kind of an equal stance. I was surprised that we kind of came together on this because
We
a lot
stayed
of
in the gray.
We stayed in the gray, Jess. I feel like there are a lot of women that just, no matter what, they can't get over the hump of, they don't like to say, we need you. guys. We need you men to I want you to listen to us.
I'm a feminist that likes women. I mean, I'm sorry. Can you edit that?
Absolutely not.
I'm a
Absolutely
feminist.
not.
Me too.
Yeah, Trey and I are going off the platform that
Can I get a shirt?
we are feminists that like women.
Can we get a shirt that says that?
Yes.
Hashtag.
Yes. And it will be right under the Stay in the Gray logo.
I am a feminist that likes men.
Oh.
I'm going to let you go again here. Go ahead.
I am a feminist that likes men.
Good
Make
job.
sure, please keep that in there.
Don't worry.
You can keep that.
Don't worry, it's in there. But that's the point, though, is that I think that you can be a feminist. You can tackle these issues from a
Yes.
woman's standpoint
Absolutely.
without telling if they don't like what the guy's saying, they don't be like, you have a penis, you don't count.
Right.
Yes. My husband and I disagree on a lot.
Well, that's a good question, because I heard this, and I know your husband. I've met him before.
Oh, you have?
We played a round of golf together.
He's a cranky old bastard.
He is
I think your husband is a great patriot to this country. And I think he has some great views. He has some views that I tend to align myself with, and some that I don't, because I always stay in the gray. So, my question though is that you would claim. I don't know if you want to claim this fully on the air, but you probably do. That you are definitely left.
Oh, yeah.
You are a liberal.
I am a California conservative.
That's what they call you guys. And your husband would be the opposite, which would be a nice Southern conservative.
Nice
Well, he's
Southern.
from Massachusetts. He's a mass
Well, that's
hole.
interesting.
He's a mass
That's
hole.
interesting to me.
Yes,
That's a
he is
whole
a
other
mass hole.
conversation, because I lived up in that area in one of the states just north of there.
There's more up there than you realize.
And I met quite a few.
Yeah.
But you get into the towns and the cities that are there, and then of course it tends to change, or the majority at least. Mm-hmm. But so I'm just baffled by the notion that you guys can coexist as a married couple, having complete opposite views in this day and age in this country. I can't imagine my wife. My wife and I disagree on a few little things, and we pick our battles. But if she and I disagreed on everything, healthcare, border, and economy, and just all these things, I just feel like we would literally. It just wouldn't happen. It wouldn't work.
We find other things.
Is that okay? So let me ask you a question. So if you're,
We just don't talk about it.
We find mutual.
You find
things.
mutual things. You don't talk about it, but that can't always happen.
No, we
right?
do. We get into some heated arguments.
So if you're, I'm sorry to get to my question that I wrote down for you on this is simple. How do you do it? Was the question. But to broaden it a bit, I'm wondering, like, if you're sitting there and you're watching whatever, and somebody brings up the topic that's a very obvious, you both are on opposite ends of the spectrum topic. Do you have an example? Can you think of one right away that you guys just butted heads on?
Trump.
So a whole person, not an issue.
Is that
Not an issue. Okay, all right.
Okay, so gun control.
Well, I feel like you were on the same page a little bit there.
We
can use Donald. We can use the Donald.
We can use
the Donald. He's got some
and
stuff
we can
going on
use
right
some,
now.
We can use gun control too. But
Okay, use gun control. So
Okay.
if something comes on and he's just like, I tend to look at the TV or radio or whatever I'm listening to, and I'm like, yeah, that's right. I feel like he might be like that, and you're like, that's bullshit, and
that's exactly what I say.
and then he just lets it go.
No, we fight about it.
Okay. Does it lead to great makeup sex?
Absolutely. That's the
Because
only reason why I fight
There
about
you
it.
go. Okay. You know what?
Honest-
that whole segment is answered.
Honestly,
Yeah.
that's why I piss Ryan off in golf too.
I know.
Oh God.
I'm just saying.
So you can be the little spoon.
Oh. Boy,
But see, as a feminist, I like to be the big spoon.
whoa.
Hello.
So if anybody doubts how we can take a serious topic and turn it in the span of 6 seconds into something ridiculous, listen to the last minute.
Well, as you know her husband, I'm sure
I
he
do.
enjoys being
Yeah.
the little
Oh,
spoon
yeah.
from time
Oh,
to
yeah.
time.
He
So.
does.
So that's what it is. It's just you just do it. You coexist. You just
We
say,
do, and
I don't
and sometimes
agree. I
he
don't
will.
agree.
maybe bend my way a little bit, and sometimes I
No.
maybe bend his way a little bit.
Yeah.
No, it does happen.
So let's talk about our former president, soon to be president again. I don't have an opinion on that. I just wanted to say that to Jess.
From jail.
That's not going to happen. I know you guys want it to, but it's just not, and that's what's going to probably spike his popularity. But go ahead. So let's talk about Trump. So Trump is obviously, whether it's intentional or not, sometimes it is. Sometimes I feel like it's media driven. He's very polarizing. He's very divisive, and again, I don't believe it's all intentional. That being said, you had and you still do, a long time now since Donald has entered our lives politically to deal with this, and you're telling me that's one of the issues, and so I'm just curious. So he comes on, and you just see a snippet like on the TV or something where he's doing his thing, and does your husband turn around and go, that's right, Donald, do it. You got this. And you just sit there and go, blah, like vomiting. Okay, and then what does he say back?
God, he's disgusting. I want to punch him in his face.
Okay, but does his physical appearance have to do with policy?
Jess, you're such a liberal. Shut the fuck up.
You're screaming, you're screaming liberal. Shut up. Or,
and then I'll say, go in the kitchen and make me a sandwich.
Yes.
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
I think it's great though that you guys. I mean, and you would say that in the last 6.5 years since Trump was first elected, you think that your relationship is just the same. It's good.
Yeah.
It didn't decline, and
I don't think so.
That's so impressive to me. Mm-hmm. I'm very impressed. So I wanted to give you kudos on that.
Thank you.
And I didn't. We didn't need to dive too deeply. I was very impressed by it because, like I said, I have my opinions, and they're all over the place. If anybody can't tell. But I'm passionate as well.
We all do, though. I really do believe that most Americans are down the middle.
I don't know though if you'd be willing to admit that you're on a right wing side on an issue.
Sure.
Except for guns.
I believe in death penalty.
Is that really a right wing issue though? Isn't that's really that you picked the most neutral? No, I guess you're right. I guess it could be left.
What else?
Anyway.
Well, I'll find some more.
Think about it. Because I admit I can give you 5 on the left and 5 on the right that I support. Mm-hmm. And the issue when people go, well, then how do you vote? Well, the ones that I feel the federal government, if you're talking about just the president, mm-hmm. I feel like these issues here are what a federal government should handle. And that tends to lean one way. Mm-hmm. And then the other side is more maybe social issues or different issues here that I feel either as a state or even further, like local, mm-hmm. city, town, neighborhood issues that I feel shouldn't be at the federal level. So it just depends on that. It's policy. So when I hear people just it's Trump and Biden, well, it is, but it isn't.
Right.
It's which one of these dipshits is going to produce or push policy. Mm-hmm. And so that's my opinion. But congratulations on your.
Thank you.
On your crazy, crazy makeup, your constant makeup sex. That's great. I'm gonna high five your husband next time I see him.
I'm gonna hope for a polarizing election in 2024.
Every time I see like a huge debate between the two, I'm gonna be like, "Way to go, buddy." Okay, the last thing I wanted to talk about really fast is you've got to have a story or two for us about the ER. Okay, not a lot of people get to experience that chaos, and I imagine it's chaos.
It's definitely crazy.
Okay, there are probably nights that are less crazy than others,
Yeah.
And you pray for those at a certain point. Trey and I right now are not praying for that. We want chaos, so we want to hear about. I had 2 things: the grossest thing you've ever seen come in, and the strangest thing you've ever come in, or something in that field.
Strangest thing I have a hard time with, but I will.
And I forgot to ask you how long. I'm going to interrupt everybody all night. How long have you been a nurse?
I've been a nurse 13 years.
Okay, I knew the answer. I just wanted our listeners to know the answer.
13
years.
ER 9.
In ER 9, 13
mm-hmm.
years
yes.
total nurse. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, in that, so that's a long time for you to see these things.
Yes.
Okay.
So probably the most interesting is 2. We get a call for a person that slipped in the shower.
You get a call. So that, and again, I don't
EMS.
know how this works. So
EMS.
somebody calls forward and says,
So-
we're coming in.
Ambulance calls in.
Oh, I didn't. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
I thought they arrived screeching like, get out here. Like, come out here.
Doors flying open.
Yeah.
No, they
Yeah.
usually give us a warning.
And then people run out from the hospital like, what happened? Let us know right now. Well, that's great that they prep you.
Yes,
Well,
yeah.
All right, go
But they don't give us a lot of information because usually they're
Right.
sitting next to the patient.
Sure.
They give us a call. Person in the shower slipped, and
This dumbass.
they're coming in for rectal pain.
Oh.
What?
We all
So
know
very
what
vague.
they're coming in.
What?
For. Yeah, they slipped in the shower
Oh.
and fell on a 12-inch dildo.
Hello. Good
Ouch.
good for them. I tell you what.
And I don't know if
You
you know
would.
this, but the rectum it's like a black hole. It like sucks.
Oh.
So it was inside?
Yes.
So
my
he arrived at the
God.
hospital.
Yes, we could not retrieve it. We
Well,
tried.
what,
We
So
tried.
you just left it
Oh.
there?
No. Yeah, we
Walking
just
around
left it there.
vibrating.
But unfortunately, he forgot to bring the.
Ooh.
Unfortunately, they forgot to bring the remote
Holy
to turn it on and off. No.
Hopefully the battery's dead.
Yeah, the battery died. You're like, oh.
Oh God! You imagine him at a dinner party. Sorry.
Yeah. Hold on a second. I
Wait a
need to
minute.
use the
Did we say
restroom.
if it was a him or a her? I don't know, but it would be.
Why did
great.
I assume that it was a him?
I don't
like,
know.
Immediately.
I think we all assume it was
yeah.
him.
Okay. But it was.
No,
that's
they
correct. It was.
they
a him.
went to surgery.
Oh,
Yeah.
how did they go in after that in surgery? Do they go through the butt, or is it like through the stomach?
Trey
or-
uses actual medical terminology.
Yeah.
Dr. General Trauma
Yes.
Surgeon, do you go in through the butt?
Did they use a catheter?
It's called a rectal vault.
A rectal.
Oh,
it's
shit.
a rectal vault. Trey.
That
Come
sounds
on.
official.
Trey, I knew that.
A rectal vault. What is he
What do you
storing?
put in
So they went in. They went in through the rectal vault.
I don't know how they went in.
Have you
Oh, my
seen?
God.
Okay, so they went in. They ended up getting it. Story over. But have you seen anything else in the rectum region that was weird?
A few things.
A few things.
Easter eggs.
No shit.
Easter eggs, yeah.
With the candy still in it?
Now were they?
Was money in there?
Wait,
Was the chocolate melted by this point?
Easter eggs or just egg? Like,
I think it was eggs.
I mean, they're all painted and
Eggs.
color.
Yeah, just eggs. Regular painted eggs.
Just like hard boiled.
Yes.
Okay. all right.
Hard-boiled egg.
Because anybody that would get a regular egg in there without breaking it would be really impressive.
That would be
That would
impressive.
That would
Okay.
be impressive.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's interesting. I always wondered what would be in people's
Hard-boiled
buttocks.
eggs.
The ER is definitely fun.
What
Holy
about
shit.
something strange? Is there anything strange where someone came in and you heard like how it happened? You're going like somebody's arm went away that you didn't think it could, or like a
I've seen-
gunshot in a place where it's like you're not dead, like it's straight through between your eyes, or like
Oh,
something
I
something
have.
weird.
I have had a GSW to the head. A
What?
GSW is a gunshot.
A gunshot wound.
Yeah.
Okay.
To the head, and they were talking.
Just like oh man,
Yeah.
this stings
it
a little
was
bit.
It was
Doesn't
very
feel good.
superficial and.
But like through it or
not-
just skim
Oh, yeah.
It didn't. It just skim it.
Yeah, it was in. It had to be retrieved.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's that
Did they
kind
go
of stuff.
through the? Did they go through?
Did they go through
they
the
go
rectum?
through the
Did they go through the butt?
But I'm starting to think you're obsessed with the ass.
Did they put the,
He's
did
been
they use
told.
a catheter
He's
on
been
that
told.
one?
So he had a headache. Well, did they go in through the butt?
Did they go through the butt?
So, do you want to be a proctologist?
Yeah, you know what? That's what you should do. You should go back to medical school
And be a proctologist.
and be a proctologist.
Oh, I don't want to see that.
It would be anybody that's like, man, I've had the sniffles for a week. Well, make an appointment. Let's come in.
Go in through the butt.
Bend over. Let's get this cleared right up.
This has gotten this is out of control.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna have to. We have completely gone off the. No,
That's great.
I think actually that's the trait. I'm going to side with you. That's a good question. How many procedures that go through that region are effective and for what?
Right.
We don't know.
Colonoscopy?
We don't know.
Makes me.
Trey, you're almost 50. You're due for one.
I talked about one on the air.
I check that region daily.
on the podcast. You heard me talk about it on one show. I forget what I was talking about. But for some reason, I brought up
Apparently
that
I did.
that I had a prostate exam that I wasn't ready for. I think.
Yeah, I have to.
Did
yes.
they warn you at least?
No.
No. Well, he assumed that I knew that was part of it. So when he said turn over, that I would
just thought he was
assume. I
checking
thought
your back?
I thought maybe they put that on the thing to check your lungs, the stethoscope, and I thought maybe that was just his. He hadn't done that yet, and I was like, okay.
That's all.
And he missed the top of my back by a little ways, and he was a little south of there.
I mean, I
And
came
then
in
he
with it.
said, and then he said, "You're going to feel my fingers. You're going to feel a little pressure."
Once he was in, he said that.
He didn't even warn you.
No, I think he really thought or maybe I just, like I said, I told Trey, I think I blacked it out.
Mine
I think
didn't.
I think at this point, I went into my happy place, and I don't
As
remember.
women, we don't have to go through that. That's awesome.
My doctor actually.
I mean, we
You
have
also
our,
don't have to be kicked in the balls. That's
We-
a whole other thing
we
too.
have our own private hell. I mean,
My doctor, no shit, asked me afterwards. He said, "Now for the rest of the day, you're going to wonder did
I'm laughing. I don't even know why.
did I have one hand on your shoulder or two?" And I'm like, "What?"
He did not say
I
that.
swear to God.
Oh my god!
I swear to God, he had a 7-foot intern in there. Thank God his banana hands didn't get anywhere near my butt. But I'm just saying, to ask me that afterwards,
I've lost complete control.
I'll tell you what. Anyway, but my ankle felt better after that. I don't understand how that worked, but yeah, everything was working.
Yeah, everything worked.
My foot felt better
nicely.
after that. So anyway,
Well, on that note, so in the ER, Jess, let's try and avoid any issues that have happened around the anus, since that's all we've talked about for the last 5 minutes. Is there anything else you can think of offhand that was just something that you went home and told somebody, wow, that was really hard, that was really tough? You know, yeah, well, just something that you just it stuck, it stayed with you. Something you saw, like some injury or some child or something that you were just like almost maybe almost had you rethink what you're doing. And if you haven't, that's fine. I'm just curious if you've seen for how many years now ER people coming in.
I mean, it is tough. I've had 2 PD codes. Fortunately, only 2.
PD.
Pediatric.
Oh, pediatric codes.
Pediatric code.
I can't imagine that.
Those are 2. Yeah, those are rough, and I remember both of them very well. And one
sure.
recently, and on the same day that we had the most recent pediatric code, we also had a patient that was turning 100. And
Wow.
so we went out and got a cake and said happy birthday. Probably within 20 minutes.
Yeah,
of
that's
each other.
crazy.
So
wow.
What if you don't mind me asking, what were the what were the causes of death for the pediatric or for the children?
I wouldn't.
You don't
know.
remember?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just
think-
always curious.
Yeah.
In a situation like that, if it's something an ER, it means it's something. It was something quick. Usually, I would think
Yeah, I mean, I really probably
Yeah.
couldn't go into it.
you're probably not supposed to
Yeah.
anyway. But
Let
yeah.
me. I'm kind of curious how loud you had to sing for that 100-year-old to hear
Pretty
"Happy
loud.
Birthday." Is that loud?
There was 10
Yeah,
of
we're
us.
talking about
Yeah.
we're talking about child codes, and you're concerned about the.
How many fire extinguishers did you have ready for all those
For
candles
the
on the
100
cake?
candles.
I mean, that probably destroyed the cake having to put all those candles in there too.
It took us a hot minute to light them all, too.
Yeah, I can
I
imagine.
See, I see what we did there with the hot
I can imagine.
minute. Okay. Jess, this has been great. Again, I think we could go off, and I'd love to have you back sometime.
Yeah, I definitely think
Would
I
you-
would love to come back.
would you like to come back?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. If
We have
your
plenty of
listeners like
issues.
me, yeah.
Yeah, I'll ask them specifically.
Yeah.
We'll ask Akura when we're over in Africa. What did you think of Jess?
Yeah, I'm sure he'll. Yeah,
Like, yeah. But email us at stuff@stayinthegreatpodcast.com and tell us what you think of Jess. Or don't, because we like her, so
Yeah.
I don't care what you think.
especially as a feminist that likes women.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all
But I don't wear Birkenstock.
only
You shave your armpits.
the only
Only in the summer.
well,
Okay.
the only people I actually want to hear from now, Trey, are the feminists who are mad at that comment.
That's awesome.
That's it. Anybody else I don't care about, call in and tell us that we're idiots. But anybody that has a comment about Jess, you have to be a feminist
There
who
we go.
likes who likes women.
Who likes women?
But yeah. But I think that tonight went great, Jess, and I'm glad you were here, and we'd love to have you back with yet another topic. I think there are plenty of them out there, and I like that you and I disagree on enough, and I think we kept it pretty calm tonight, and I think that we have the ability to really kind of fire it up on some other topics.
Probably.
So, yeah, abortion is something that I think like I said, I think we're closer to each other's views than others would think. There are some topics, however, that I'm pretty sure we'll get it rolling. Everything was great. I can't wait to see you again, Jess, and have you on. Trey, it sounded good tonight, my man.
You did too.
Thank you.
I had fun.
It's almost like you've been directed to calm down over there.
Thank you for letting me be here, Ryan.
You are welcome. We love you.
Later.
See you guys.
On a serious note, Ryan, when are you going to slide that catheter inside me?